We're going to talk to you all just for a minute about something that is on my mind. Um, I was thinking the other day, since this whole pandemic has started, it's been really challenging, I think, for everybody. And I think when you care about people and people are a responsibility of yours, what you find yourself doing is you find yourself caring in a way that sometimes probably you shouldn't, because it can become a burden to you, or even if you're not careful, it'll become stressful. So you have to be careful that, you try to keep a balance of care, but you want strategies that will help you help people get through and navigate through these turbulent waters, okay? And so I want to start, I named this, or I titled this, The Immeasurable Cost of Silence, okay? Immeasurable, you can't measure, okay, what this silence that is happening in our culture, in our society. You can't measure the cost of it, because I'm here to tell you that as we are quiet, we are quietly being ushered into an era that there is going to be no return and control on a level that you've never experienced it before. Okay? And so there's a quote by Edmund Burke. The quote says, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." He said, the only thing that's necessary for evil to win is for good men to sit idly by and do nothing. Okay? And I think that quote really contextualizes what's happening right now in this global pandemic. I think that what is happening right now is that we have become so afraid to respond that we don't know that we're being ushered into a whole new era. Okay? And so I wrote down some ramifications of what is happening since this COVID-19 has hit the scene. Okay? This COVID-19, the first thing it's done is halted the economy. Okay? The economy has come to a halt. It's closed our schools. Okay? Since this pandemic has hit, this COVID-19, all of our schools have been closed. Okay? It's ravaged our small businesses. Okay? All of our small businesses, they've shut them down. And now that our small businesses are shut down, they're not able to operate and to create revenue for themselves. Also, they've crippled industries. Okay? And so we have to begin to understand that what we got to do is, as we navigate these waters, these precarious times, we're going to have to really take a look at what is the real agenda of what's happening here. Okay? Because there's a lot of misinformation and misconception that is given out amongst the people. And we really begin to understand that, you got to understand that your livelihood is really under attack. Okay? And if your livelihood is under attack, your legacy is under attack. If your legacy is under attack, then your children, your grandchildren, and everybody behind that is under attack. Okay? So we must be willing to ask some difficult questions in this time. This is a time that we must really be willing to ask some difficult questions, okay? And we really need to understand that there's a motion in place. It's a nefarious plan to come against us and to put us in a position that totally eradicates the middle class, okay? So I want to be clear that they're saying that this is about your health, but that's really a veneer. This is really not about health. What they're doing is this is really about a program, and this is really about control, systemic control. And if we don't really begin to understand that and let them use the veneer of health to seduce us, then we're going to find ourselves in a bad situation. Okay? This is about decimating the middle class. Decimating the middle class and eradicating the middle class and eradicating small businesses and eradicating mom and pop stores. And so we really have to be clear what the agenda is, and begin to understand that this silence that we have in the name of letting the government work it out, or in the name of trusting that the government is going to give the solution to the problem, it is what they want us to do so that they can do what it is that they want to do, because they do have an agenda that is on the table. Okay? And here's what we got to understand historically. That historically, when it comes to civilization, nothing has ever been worked out through mere conversation. Okay? There has not been people sitting around having conversations about what to do, and then that migrates into a plan of action. In reality, there's always been a confrontation of government to bring government into accountability, and so that government can be accountable to us as to what they're doing and why they're doing it. And so that means we're going to have to take a stance, okay, against some of the things that we're seeing. And in taking that stance, call for government to give us what it is that we need, because the government right now is suppressing us and subjugating us to a tyranny. But that's what it is. It's a tyranny, a fascist system that if we're not careful, our children won't know the world that we grew up in. And we are quickly approaching that era. Are you with me? Okay, so I want to do this. And I wrote this down. Let us understand the concessions that we've made as citizens since the inception of the pandemic. These are the concessions that we've made as citizens since the inception of this pandemic. Number one, watch this. Millions have been laid off, thus bringing hardship to families and legacies. Millions of people have lost their job. If you even on the unemployment, a lot of people are trying to file for unemployment. It's so backlogged that a lot of people can't even file for unemployment. Okay, millions have been laid off. Watch this. Entrepreneurship is at a virtual standstill. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur, your business owner, they've asked you to shut down. They've asked you to close your business, okay? And you're at a virtual standstill as to producing and realizing what the gifting or whatever the calling is that might be in you. The next thing, we released our constitutional rights. So this is what we call this nebulous CDC, this body of government that we really don't know who they are, what they do. The way they move is in stealth fashion. They're not clear on their agendas, and they give us misinformation so that we don't know how to respond. And whenever you are responding to misinformation, you're being manipulated. Okay? When you are responding to misinformation, it is a guarantee that you're being manipulated. Okay? Here's the next thing. Watch this. You have to justify your everyday travel to officers. You know, when you're traveling, my daughter was traveling to work. They pulled her over. Where are you going? You know, everyday travel, just heading to work. They're pulling you over, and you have to justify where you're going. Now, if the mask and gloves work, if I'm in my car, then I should be safe. Okay, if I'm in my car, in my vehicle, then I should be safe. But they're pulling you over, asking you where you're going. All right. And also, watch this, because the mayor of New York did this. Civilians are encouraged to report on other citizens what I call infractions. Okay, they're telling citizens to report on other citizens' infractions. You know, they had one report that somebody, they told them you couldn't cut your yard, you couldn't cut your grass. This is insane. This is literally insane. Are you listening to me? So here's the thing. This is what I tell people. This is an inhumane approach to life. Okay? They're separating families. You know, they're putting you in positions where you can't even help family members who are in need. You know, because they're saying that you shouldn't be traveling, or you shouldn't be going places, or, you know, the number of how many people can be at one place. You know, all of this in the name of health. But this can't be the reality. That can't be the reality. So here's what I wrote. If health is the sincere aim, and not authoritarianism, okay, why are we not allowed to take the necessary precautions? What are the necessary precautions? Watch this: gloves, masks, sanitizer, social distancing. Why can't we do those things and still run our businesses? If you're telling me that if I have gloves on and I wear a mask, and I have sanitizer, and I'm sterilizing my environment, why are you shutting me down and telling me that I can't run my business? Why can't my barber wear gloves and a mask and keep the place clean, sterile, and cut hair? Why can't a mom and pop store open their place, make sure that it's sterile, wear gloves and masks? They're supposed to do it anyway in sanitation, and make sure that everything is done, and still continue to do their duties. If health is the aim, okay, why can't congregations congregate? Okay, still respecting the social distancing, but given the ability to congregate and do what it is that they deem needful. Okay, why isn't it? Okay, so here's the thing, because the implications must be that mom and pop restaurants, they must be incapable of exercising wisdom. Okay, I guess what you're saying to me is that mom and pop stores, they're too illiterate to understand what they need to do to be viable. Or churches are not educated enough, or leaders are not educated enough to be able to create an environment that is conducive to whatever the agenda is that they might have set forth. But not only that, to also be caring for the welfare and safety of those congregants who might want to meet. Okay? So this insinuation that churches don't possess what it takes, or businesses don't possess what it takes, you know, to do what it needs to be safe, you know, there's something wrong with it, because everywhere you can spend money, you can go and congregate. Okay? Everywhere that is corporate, it's okay to go and buy. Okay? It's okay for corporate entities to be open, but if you're a private entity, you can't be open, and you need to shut down. There's something wrong with that. Because if it's about health, afford to the smaller businesses and the smaller entities, afford to them the same luxury that you afford to these corporate conglomerates, and give them the opportunity to work, to make sure that they observe your guidelines, but to also be open to create revenue. Are you with me? Okay? So this is what I want to tell you. And you look at it, you can go stand in Walmart's line for an hour before you get in. And then go there and shop for an hour. Okay, and be amongst all type of people that are all out in the parking lot, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's something wrong with congregating somewhere else. You can be in Snooks. I was in Snooks the other day, and there's just people everywhere, but they are deemed essential businesses. And smaller stores, mom and pop stores, the smaller businesses who do the same service. They provide the same service. They sell food. They sell canned goods. They provide the same services. They are not allowed to operate while the bigger entities are allowed to operate. Something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. So here's what I'm requesting. And here's why I'm on here. Because this silence that we're exercising, the cost is immeasurable. We're not going to be able to pay for this silence in a minute. Okay? This vehicle is driving toward a cliff. And if we don't do what it takes to turn it around, okay, and we're gonna have some cataclysmic results. Okay, so here's what I'm asking. I'm asking everybody, pastors, if you're on here, civil leaders, if you're on here, because this is not about particular churches, this is not about particular organizations, this is not just about particular civil entities. I don't care who you are, you locked down in quarantine. Okay, I don't care where you come from, you're locked down in quarantine. Okay, I don't care what it is that you do. You're locked down in quarantine. Unless you work for a conglomerate or you can find a way to be essential, they have shut you down and they've taken away your methodology of income and revenue and basically told you that whatever it is that you're doing is irrelevant. So I'm asking everybody, okay, to stand with me. Okay, I'm asking everybody we're going to do petitions. Okay, we're going to do these petitions. We're going to get these petitions to government. You need to start calling your mayor. You need to start calling your governor. Everybody need to hear your voice to begin to understand that this is not acceptable. Okay, it's in the name of health, but it's not about health. This is about governmental control. Okay, because if it was about health, everybody would be afforded the same opportunity to keep revenue while they observe health standards. Okay, and so when you start talking about who is essential, you're on a slippery slope when you're having governing bodies that now they're able to say to you that what you do is not relevant, but you are relevant. And everyone that seemingly is always relevant are those who are corporate. How is a liquor store relevant and essential? How is a liquor store essential? How is a shop that sells marijuana essential to our culture? Okay, and these are the things that we're facing right now. And we're sitting there and they're driving us with fear. They manipulate you with fear. They tell you that you're going to be running out of this. So they do that to create billions of dollars. Because once they tell you you're going to run out, everybody run out to it. And they're just sitting back basically laughing because they're controlling and manipulating you through fear mongering. Okay, it is a horrible, insidious plan against us. Are you listening to me? Okay, I wrote some things down. I wanted to show you something. I looked at the stats for automobile accidents in 2019. 37,000 people in the United States were killed in automobile accidents. Okay, I looked at flu deaths from 2018 to 2019. There were 61,000 cases of flu death from 2018 to 2019. I went back a year because I didn't want the numbers fluctuated with corona deaths that they call them corona, but it was really the flu. Okay, I looked at what's happening in Missouri. They said there were 6,000 reported cases, 177 deaths. 6,000 reported cases, 177 deaths. 800,000 reported cases across the United States, basically. About 820,000 cases. The death rate is 42,000. Okay, globally, I want you to listen to this. Globally, this pandemic, the global number is 2,468,733 deaths. Okay, and thus far, and I just Googled this before I got online, and the deaths are 170,000. Now, we're not saying any death is something that you should overlook, but I want you to look at these numbers. 2.5 million confirmed, we're talking about confirmed corona cases, and 170 100,000 deaths. Are you listening to me? They talk about what's essential. What's essential is freedom. That's what's essential. And I'm saying to everybody, you cannot afford to wait until they say the coast is clear. Okay, Martin Luther King talked about it when he was talking to some moderates, and as he was talking to the moderates, they said to him that your timing is an issue and that you should wait. And why is it that it's such a big deal that you're doing it now? And he said, you always tell me to wait, but I've come to understand that wait almost always means never. Okay, and what they're doing is they're telling you that you should wait, and while they're telling you to wait, they're steadily taking and putting more and more things in place. Okay, and so now they're setting up for security and National Guards and all of these other different things. People say, well, how do you know? Because I know people at workplaces and I know they booked them. Okay, this is what I know. I know people that have taken their cars in to get service. They did recalls, and then they put surveillance systems in their cars. Okay, you got to begin to understand that this is an attack on your freedom. And this whole, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to wait on the government to tell me, by the time you figure this out, the game is already over. The game is already over. They're walking off the court. Okay? So I'm saying to everybody that this is your time. This is your opportunity. You're going to have to stand up. If I can go out, if they say, because they encourage you to go out, take a walk, come back in. If I can go out, take a walk, and walk through the neighborhood and just make sure I'm not in somebody's space. And I'm saying if this is what they're saying, and as long as I obey those things, that everybody's good. If I can do it one time and it's okay, I can do it 10. Okay? If I can go out one time and it works and everybody's okay, I can do it 15 and everything. So here's my thing. Here's what I'm saying to you. It's time for a consciousness to arise. Okay? You are born in this moment. You are here in this hour because you are the solution to this pandemic. Okay? And you are the solution to this quarantine. You are the solution to what is going on. It is inhumane to take people's economy, to take people's dream, to dreams, to wreck people's legacies, to tell people that you are not viable and who's essential and who is not. That is inhumane treatment. To tell people, let me tell you something, a baby when it is born, if it cannot have human touch, it dies. And we have never, ever in the histories and annals of humanity, we have never been placed in a situation where caring for one another is the issue. Okay? It is a despotic plan. Okay? It does not work. It is not real. Are you listening to me? I'm not saying Corona is not real. I'm talking about the methodologies given to us, how to handle it. Okay? There's serious error in what they're telling us to do. There's serious error in what they're telling us to do. So I'm saying starting today, you got to rise. Okay? I'm saying starting today, you have to make your voices known. CLM, I'm going to do a petition. Crump has put the petition together. Pastors, if you're on this line, you should talk to your congregants. You should have them all to sign the petitions. All of these petitions should be sent forth. And they talking about, well, May the 4th they might release. Listen to me. This warfare will have to escalate. Okay? If they're giving dates and then lying about the dates they give, then there needs to be people walking. I don't care if we walk in social distancing, but we need to be walking toward everybody coming out on the same date, understanding that this is not acceptable. I don't care if you got to walk in your mask and your gloves on. This is not acceptable. And I'm telling you that if you wait until the release date, the game is already over. Are you listening to me? So all I got to say to you is that, this is my heart's cry. I believe that this is the time to rise. I believe that this is the time to bring accountability to government. I believe that government owes us the truth. And let us understand what it is that they're really saying to us. And they cannot tell us that we are not able now to provide for our families. That's not health. That's not about health. That is about control. I was talking to a friend of mine, and it's almost like, your house catch on fire, and you run outside, and as you run outside, he was talking about how you run outside, you're a smoker, you light your cigarette, and the fire department pulls up, and then they douse you because you got a cigarette in your hand and leave your house burning. Okay, the place that you need for shelter and safety, the place of rest, they leave it to trash. This is almost what's happening. The virus, they're not attacking it, they're attacking us. Okay? They're not dealing with what the issue is, they're dealing with us. Okay, they're causing people to see people as diseases, causing people to see people as viruses and bacteria, and having people to fear-mongering, and having people afraid of one another and don't want to talk to one another. This is insane. Do gloves work? Do masks work? If they do, let us put them on and return back to society. If they work, if they don't work, then you're lying to us anyway, and it don't even matter. Okay? So this is why I got on today. I appreciate everybody that got on to listen. I'm not going to hold your time anymore. I just wanted you to know that it's time for us to get up. It's time for us to not just have the conversations, but put action in motion. When history is recorded, you don't want to be on the wrong side of the table. When history is recorded, you don't want to be one of the ones who was hoping that things would change and they never did. Okay? You want to be one of the ones, when history is recorded, that you did what it took to make sure that things return to some type of normal. And I'm saying this to you, if you're a parent, I have children, I have grandchildren, at the end of the day, I don't want them to walk into the world that I see they're trying to manifest. I don't want my family to walk into a world that I see that they're trying to manifest, and I'm quite sure neither do you. So that means you're gonna have to get up off your dusty, and you're gonna have to make some real decisions and have to make some real moves, and stop letting people manipulate you through fear. They're manipulating the masses through fear. There is no shortage. They're telling you that to make you spend so they can walk away. Because this is about a great heist. There's a wealth, a transfer of wealth that is going on right now, and they're using fear to obtain it. Are you getting what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm going to spend, the rest of my time when I'm coming on, I'm going to spend my time addressing these issues, addressing these ills. I'm going to make sure that people know my position. I think that if you're not afraid, you should come out. If you're afraid, then hide. We'll get behind us and shut up. If you're afraid, don't talk against us. Shut up and get behind us and let us do what we do. Okay? All right. So this is what I'm saying to you. It's time to do something. Pastors, you have influence. Civil leaders, you have influence. A lot of you out there, you have influence. Use your influence to at least do petitions to present to governing bodies so they can understand that you don't have to give an account for this, because we are looking at what you're doing. And not only that, we're coming after you because we're not tolerating it. We're not tolerating it. Are you with me? All right. I appreciate, again, I appreciate everybody coming on. It's time to get up. It's time to get up. It's time to address the issue. It's time to address the elephant in the room. Okay? It's time to stop cowarding and hoping that things change. And every time we get a date, next thing you know, here come another date. Okay? It's time out for that. It's time for everybody to stand up. If you would stand up as one person of consciousness, and this is a spiritual statement I'm getting ready to make. If you would stand up as one person of consciousness, you are worth more than 1,000 alone. So if we would just rise, okay, if we would rise and not be afraid, okay, then the reality of it is I'm not saying we can stop it, but we can definitely slow it down where it's heading. Okay? So I appreciate everybody's time. It's time to get up. Time to let people know we're sick of it. Time to let them know we're not tolerating it anymore. You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me when I can go outside. You're not going to tell me when I can cut my yard. You're not going to tell me to snitch on folk because they want to take care of their homes. You're not going to tell me that I can't work and all these other different things. You're not going to tell me that. You're not going to tell me that because I see you working. And I see you still out making it. And I see you all in press conferences standing together. And I don't see any social distancing. I don't see any masks or rubber gloves or any of the things that you say we need to be doing. I don't see none of you all doing that in the press conference. You're hovering together like about to run a football play, looking all close and tight, and ain't nobody looking like they're concerned about nothing. But you perpetuating that upon us globally. So, appreciate your time. Getting ready to let you go. God bless you.